Hello everyone, this is part 3 of What If Naruto Had the Full 9 Tails, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to see more comment down below. First day of boot camp. For the next 2 months this forest behind me will be your home. I will make sure by time we leave you're either half dead requiring medical attention beyond anybody in Konoha or stronger than any average Junin, but first we have to get my gifts out of the way. Anko shouted, successfully waking up the 3 tired genin. Anko smiled before pulling out a scroll from her trench coat. Her smile never left her face as she opened the scroll and a large crate popped out. What has Anko Klaus brought for all the good little girls and boys? For Hinata and Shino we have chakra weights, and Naruto we have lump of coal. Anko pulled out 2 boxes from the crates and tossed them to Hinata and Shino, who looked at the boxes before opening them up. Anko then took out a lump of coal and tossed it to Naruto. Inside Shino's box there were a set of armor-style weights exactly like Naruto's, except while Naruto's were solid black, Shino's were silver, and Shino's chainmail was a t-shirt instead of sleeveless like Naruto's. Hinata's weights though resembled jewelry and clothing. Inside her box were 2 wrist weights that resembled charm bracelets that had charms of a heart, the Konoha symbol, Hinata's family crest, a red swirl, and a fox on each, 2 matching ankle bracelets, and a black low-cut chainmail tub top. Sensei, why are the weights Shino and I wearing armor while Hinata's are jewelry? Naruto asked. 2 reasons, your weights are armor so that they don't obviously look like weights. This will throw off your enemies when you remove the weight and gain a boost of speed somehow. Naruto, yours weights will be obviously visible due to the clothes you wear. Shino's will be hidden under his clothes so it will prevent people from getting suspicious of you 2 wearing similar outfits. Anko stated as she rummaged through the box. My second reason is because Hinata's fighting style really doesn't need armor. Her natural flexibility and petite frame will make her more suited to dodging than blocking. Now I have more stuff. Anko stated as she pulled out 3 slips of paper. We might start working on these during your 2 months, but for now I want each to know your chakra affinities. Just add chakra to them. Anko handed the papers to her students and they each added chakra to them. Naruto's paper split in half, Hinata's became wet, and Shino's crumbled to dust. Well Naruto, I already knew you were wind. Shino, the Aburame family tends to be earth, so that's not surprising, but Hinata's is strange. The Hyuga tend to be earth as well, that's how the fighting style was derived. You're unique, but I'll go into detail later. Hinata nodded and Anko closed the crate. Alright, the rest will come at different times, for now I'm going to teach you how to climb trees. Anko replied while turning to the gate. Anko sensei, I know it. Hinata stated, making Anko freeze. Do you 2 know it? Anko asked, looking at Shino and Naruto, who both nodded. Does everybody know water walking? Everybody nodded. Can you fight on water? Once again everybody nodded. Can you all fight upside down on a branch? Nobody responded. Alright, I guess that's what we're doing today. Now into the forest. Anko stated, turning around and opening the door to the training ground. As they walked, 3 genin were immediately on edge. The place gave off an instant feeling of being hunted, and even Naruto was put off by it. Anko smirked and without even looking at Trio knew their reactions. Relax, the really dangerous stuff doesn't come out until night. Right now you just have to worry about giant, carnivorous bugs and plants. Anko said and then stopped when she felt they were a good distance into the forest. I want all of you to climb those trees right and stand upside on a branch. Oh Hinata and Shino, go change into your weight. Keep your coats off too, I don't need you passing out right now. The Shino nodded hesitantly and walked in the opposite directions to change, but Hinata stopped and looked like you was about to comment, but Anko cut her off. You're a kunoichi now, and regardless how you feel about your body, at some point you'll be required to show it off to complete a mission. I'm just making sure you'll be ready for that, princess. Now go change and keep the coat off. Hinata sighed before she went to change. Anko turned to Naruto. That goes for you too, blonde. Naruto sighed before taking off his jacket and black t-shirt, leaving him in nothing but his sleeveless chainmail shirt. The blonde looked to Anko and saw she was pointing up, so he walked up one of the enormous trees and stood upside down on one of its thick branches. I want you to spar with my shadow clone and no using Kyuubi's chakra. Anko shouted as a clone came running up the tree. The moment the clone was upside down on the branch, Naruto moved backwards to gain some space only to fall to the ground below. Anko smirked as the blonde glared at his own stupidity. At that point Hinata and Shino walked back wearing their chainmail tops. It was obvious that their movements were sluggish. Luckily for Shino, his wrist braces covered his arms for the most part, but Hinata was a different story. The Hyuga heiress was blushing heavily, covering her exposed stomach with her arms. Hinata looked ready to faint from showing so much skin. I forgot this is harder because you must be in contact with tree at all times or you'll just fall to the ground. Now each of you try, we won't be moving on until you can fluidly fight my clones for at least 20 minutes straight. Anko said, ignoring her angered and embarrassed students before making 2 more clones for Hinata and Shino. 4 days later, 1 hour, well that's impressive, most Chunin can't get this result so quickly, but I expected better from you 3. Anko called as she watched her students fight her clones. Just as she was about to call the 3 down, Hinata landed a fatal blow on the clone, making it disperse. Shino and Naruto, seeing this, increased their pressure and soon both dispersed their clones as well. All 3 dropped down and landed by Anko together. Alright, now that is out of the way, it's time to work on your teamwork. Anko said before opening a scroll to reveal the crate. The snake summoner opened up the crate and pulled out a metal ring, about the size of a wristband, with 3 straps on it. Anko gestured for the trio to come over and she tied each strap around one of their waists. Now I won't under any circumstances remove these until the end of 2 weeks, so keep each other alive. Naruto, you can't use Kyuubi's chakra, Shino no manipulating native insects, and Hinata no Byakugan. Now to make things harder, Anko began going before a series of hand signs and slamming her palm on the ground. Smoke covered the area, and when it cleared, at least 100 snakes ranging from the size of a person to bigger than an entire house. Anko stood atop the largest one, breathing heavily, and murmured, "Eat them." The 3 genin eyes widened when it appeared the snakes smirked and launched at them. The 3 jumped away only to fall on one of the snakes from the lack of balance. The team tried to get up, but they struggled because of the restriction of the ring. Then another snake slithered on top of the one they had landed on. "Oh fuck this." Naruto shouted and grabbed Hinata and Shino's arms, and the 3 were gone in a fire shunshin. Anko chuckled as the snakes went off to find their prey. This is going to be a fun couple of weeks. Now to go watch the show, Anko stated before heading to the tower in middle of the forest. "I'm going to kill her." Naruto growled as he, Hinata and Shino sat on a branch attempting to hide from Anko's legion of snakes. "I also think our sensei's training methods are eccentric," Shino commented. "I think Anko-sensei mean well," Hinata replied, trying to calm her teammates down. Just as she said it though, a giant snake slithered onto the branch they were on and hissed, making the kids groan. They got up cautiously, but the snake still continued its path toward them, wrapping slowly around the branch. "On my signal, jump left," Naruto whispered as he pulled out his trench knives. Just as the snake was within striking distance, Naruto added wind chakra and sliced their end of the branch from the rest of the tree. "Jump," he shouted just as the branch began to fall to the ground. The team jumped, landing in a nearby river. "This is going to be a long 2 weeks," Naruto grumbled. Hinata and Shino nodded in agreement. The trio with much difficulty reached the shore and began walking cautiously through the forest, finding jumping on branches impossible without Naruto using shunshin, on the lookout for any of Anko's snakes. "Suggest we form a plan," Shino stated as they crept along the forest floor. "That would be for the best," Hinata replied, "only for a pack of giant lions to surround them." "Here's the plan. We stop running and kill these simple animals," Naruto yelled in frustration. Hinata and Shino nodded, and the Shino pulled out a kunai while Hinata dropped into the Juken stance. Naruto pulled out both his trench knives and started adding wind chakra to them. One of the lions charged at Shino, but the bug user was ready. Extending his hand, multiple insects flew out of his skin and latched onto the lion. "I'll finish it," Naruto called out as the feline fell to the ground, attempting to get the insects off. Naruto used his wind-enhanced knives to slice the beast's stomach wide open, killing it. "Watch out," Hinata yelled as the move had left him exposed to a lung from another lion, but Hinata moved to defend, striking the lion with an open palm underneath the jaw. The move killed the lion and sent it flying over the group, but Shino grabbed its tail and sent flying into another lion. The remaining lion roared and all charged at once. Duck, Naruto growled. Hinata and Shino dropped and Naruto added more chakra to his knives before making a wide sweeping motion over both his teammates' heads, effectively killing the remaining lions. Finally, Anko voice called from above them. I thought you brats would run forever. Now you just need to get so familiar with each other you won't have to speak. Naruto growled and was about to attack, but Anko began going through more hand signs. Once again she summoned multiple snakes of all different sizes and ordered them to attack the kids. Naruto yelled, but it was a mistake as her earlier summons entered the area. Realizing they stood no chance against so many enemies, the genin retreated while killing any snake that followed them. I'll kill her slow, Shino, watch out. Naruto yelled as a snake dove from a tree at the Aburame. Shino ducked and Naruto punched the serpent in the nose, making it disperse. Hinata, Shino called, throwing a kunai right by her head, striking a snake in the eye, also dispersing a summons. As the trio moved, the stream of snakes slowly thinned out until the serpent stopped following them, opting to strike later. She's crazy. Naruto grumbled as he held a closing wound from a snake that had been able to land a bite on him. Shino nodded while Hinata attended to some minor wounds on him. This Hinata made no reply to aid their sensei. As she tried to patch up her teammates and herself with the first aid kit she kept in a scroll in her weapon pouch. This led to a silence as the young Kunoichi worked, but the moment she finished, the silence was broken by a loud groan from Naruto's stomach. We need to go hunt for food, Hinata stated as Naruto placed an hand on his stomach. The three got up and began searching the forest for something to eat. As sky darkened, their lack of food began to frustrate the team until they came upon a deer the size of 4 people. Naruto hushed the group as he pulled out a kunai, gesturing for the other to do the same. Hinata aimed for the head, Shino the body, I'll strike the throat. Naruto then with his raised his free hand and paused. The deer raised its head in alertness, but the moment it turned its head, Naruto brought his hand down and the three threw their kunai. The weapons all hit at the same time and the deer was dead before it hit the ground. The three walked over to the animal and took their weapons out, cleaned them and began skinning the deer. Naruto-kun, why did we all need to strike the deer? Hinata asked. Just in case it had a coat tough enough to possibly block our kunai. Naruto replied. Hinata nodded as she continued to skin the animal. Upon finishing they started a fire, then cooked and ate the deer in relative silence. Alright, who wants first watch? Naruto asked as he pulled out a scroll. Opening it revealed a small stack blankets. The blonde handed everybody 2 before sealing the rest away. I will. I would like to read a few scrolls one just obtained. Shino replied before taking a scroll from his back pocket and opening, revealing more scrolls. As Naruto and Hinata went to bed, Shino read his scrolls, looking up occasionally to make sure it was still safe. 13 days later, well, tonight Anko will finally release us from our bindings, but there are still around 100 of those snakes left. I say we go and kill them all, Naruto said as the 3 genin jumped through the trees. Might I inquire why? Shino replied. Well, I have a bone to pick with the walking purses. I want to see their blood all on this forest floor. Naruto growled. I think it would be a good test of our teamwork, Shino-kun. Hinata added. Shino just sighed and nodded. Naruto turned direction and Hinata followed, never losing a step as he led his team the area the group had deemed the snake pit. This area of the forest was where Anko's summons resided when they weren't searching for the trio of genin. The snake pit was a bottom of a small plateau next to the river, formed from somebody training with earth jutsu a long time ago. The group stepped lightly on the branch, careful not to alert any snakes. Naruto glared at the multiple snakes until one of them caught his attention. A large king cobra, easily taller than a 1-story building and so long its whole body wasn't visible in the clearing, lay leisurely in the shade of the plateau. Naruto's glare intensified upon spotting the snake almost trying to kill the serpent with a mere look. Realizing what Naruto was looking at, Hinata and Shino placed a hand on his shoulders. You'll get your opportunity, Naruto. Slaying Shita will be left exclusively to you. Shino whispered. Damn straight. Bastard snake had the nerve to swallow me, and then spit me out like I was a rotten mouse. I'll annihilate that overgrown garter snake. Naruto growled, his eyes flashing red. Is everybody prepared? Once we begin there will be no chance to escape. Shino asked. Seeing Naruto pulling out his trench knives and Hinata holding a kunai firmly in her grasp, Shino decided nobody was backing out. The Aberrane pulled out a handmade wooden bow staff and the group jumped in the middle of the large gathering of snakes. The moment they touched the ground, Naruto channeled Kyuubi's chakra into his mouth and then gave bestial roar to the sky that traveled all the way to Konoha, sending masses of people into a panic, fearing the Kyuubi had returned. Then the bloodbath began. Moving as one, the group killed any and all snakes that crossed their path. When somebody was left open, another would move to cover the weakness without hesitation. Their attacks flowed around each like the group was made of water. No words were spoken, just like Anko had wanted. The only noise was the sound of hissing as snakes were killed ruthlessly while the group moved around the clearing. The dance of death continued for over an hour as the snake kept coming, but nobody lost a step. The only difference was that the group moved with increased speed as they realized they were reaching an end to their ballet. 10 minutes later, the only snake left in the clearing was the cobra Shita. Naruto glared at the snake before changing the wind chakra on the blades to Kyuubi's chakra. Naruto struck both blades against the metal ring and it shattered like glass before took the chakra out the blades and charged the snake. Shita reeled back, flattening his neck flattened, making the large snake's head appear twice as wide, before lunging at Naruto. The blonde jumped over the strike and aimed a punch at the serpent's head, only for Shita to block with his tail and fling Naruto away with a flick of his tail. Naruto grabbed a branch before using his momentum to swing back to the snake. As Naruto flew to the snake, Shita lunged at Naruto and opened his mouth to swallow the boy whole. Naruto smirked and crossed his arms and channeled wind chakra into his blades before uncrossing, intent on slicing Shita in half. Too easy, Naruto shouted, but to his surprise Shita clamped his teeth together and the wind blades were blocked by the snake's teeth and the sound of metal impacting metal rang throughout the clearing. No, it's not, boy, Shita hissed, startling Naruto. Just as Shita was about to attack, clapping caught the attention of everybody in the clearing. Sitting on the edge of the plateau was Anko, grinning madly. Well done, brats, your teamwork is now flawless, Anko said as she stopped clapping. But one question, brat, I know it goes against my training, but if you knew you could break the ring, why didn't you do it earlier? Naruto rubbed his head and shrugged sheepishly. I didn't think about it until just now, he stated. The other 3 humans and 1 snake sweat dropped at the blonde's response. Wait, enough talk, I have a snake to skin, Naruto growled, looking at Shita. Said snake hissed and reeled back in anticipation. Just as the two were about to go another round, Anko grabbed Naruto and put him in a headlock. Enough, this training is over. From now on, unless training, the snakes are your allies. Besides, Shita is far stronger than all but 2 snakes, Manda and Shita's older brother Doku. If you killed Shita, which is highly unlikely, I would only have Doku and Shita, she's so much more reliable, Anko stated, whispering the last point in Naruto's ear. Thank you so much, Shita, you can head home now. Of course, mistress, Shita replied before leaving it a puff of smoke. Well, you all look like shit, Anko said, addressing her charges. Oh, Shino has a new weapon. Hinata, what about you? Do you have or want a new toy? Hinata shrugged. I'm not sure, Anko-sensei. Do you think I should get a weapon? Hinata asked softly. Princess, it's not my decision. Have you ever wanted a weapon? Anko replied. Hinata nodded and gestured for Anko to come closer. Once Anko did, Hinata whispered something in her ear and Anko nodded. Alright kids, behave now. Mommy Anko has some errands to do, but she'll be back at the end of this month. Until then, work on these, Anko said before tossing each one a scroll. I expect them each to be complete month and a half from now. If they're not done, we'll be reviewing the teamwork drill, but this time blindfolded, and you won't be leaving the forest until those scrolls are completed. Oh, if you need my advice or help, just open one of these and I'll be here, Anko added, tossing the group 3 more scrolls. Therefore, to mastering your elemental affinities, don't worry, I only gave you the first steps and some jutsu. Learning to master your elements takes years. Ciao, Anko stated, leaving as the genin opened their first scrolls and multiple scrolls popped out. Shino looked at the scrolls and sighed. Her methods are insane, absurd, ludicrous, ridiculous, Naruto replied. Shino shook his head. Oddly proficient, Shino replied. How so? Naruto asked. Most likely none of the other genin squads are progressing as efficiently as us, and it's due to Anko-sensei's impractical teaching, Shino replied. Naruto thought about it for a moment before shrugging. Well, let's get to work, Naruto said, throwing kunai into the tree, cutting a leaf off at the stem. Naruto grabbed the leaf and soon they all got to work. 4 Shunshin jutsus appeared in the Hokages around midday to his surprise. In front a swirl of leaves appeared traditional of Konoha shinobi. Behind it a column of flames rose from nothing. To the left of the flames insects gathered at an impossible rate forming in the shape of humans. To the right of the fire Shunshin mist swirled slowly. When the jutsus ended the aged Hokage almost gaped at the ninja before him. Anko and teammate reporting in for our first mission Hokage-sama. Anko stated, a mile-wide smirk on her face. Behind her Naruto was standing with his arms crossed and hood up making his face impossible to see. Shino, no longer wearing his tan jacket, wore a loose black t-shirt with a forest green long-sleeve shirt underneath. The sleeves of the shirt were long enough to cover his arms up to his fingertips. He wore baggy black cargo pants with spots of green on them. Shino now wore his Hittite around his waist using it as a belt for his pants. Shino wore a dark green mask that went from the inside of his shirt to the bridge of his nose just below his shade, similar to Kakashi's mask. Strapped to his back was a black metal bow staff. Shino's hands were pocketed and he was looking forward at nothing in particular. To Sarutobi, Hinata's new outfit was the most surprising. The once shy Hyuga, who wore a jacket and loose capris to hide her body, was no there. In her place was a girl wearing a cropped, form-fitting and dark purple V-neck that dipped low enough that her black chainmail tube top was visible. The sleeves of her V-neck reached to her forearms and on her wrists were 2 identical charm bracelets. The V-neck was also cropped high enough that the most of her stomach was visible and the lower portion of her tube top was visible by an inch or 2. Hinata still wore capris, but they were now spandex capris in the place of her old loose ones. A weapons pouch was tied to each of her thighs. And strapped to her back was a bow and quiver filled with arrows. Hinata herself was looking down, blushing heavily, apparently slightly nervous about her new look, and her arms were behind her back, but when she looked up Sarutobi saw a glint in her eye of a ready killer. Ignoring the changes in Anko's team, Sarutobi turned his attention back to Anko. Well, that was an unexpected move, Anko, taking your team into the forest of death their first day as genin. For a moment we thought you got them killed and disappeared so you wouldn't have to face your mistakes. Sarutobi said with a small smirk. I knew my brats were good enough to survive in the forest, Hokage-sama, or hoped. Anko said, laughing nervously at the end. 3 genin sweat dropped. Well, now, as I was saying, we need a mission and I refuse have them do D ranks. After their training it would be an insult. Anko stated. Anko, I can't honestly say I approve of giving a genin team a C rank mission for their first mission. Sarutobi replied. Hokage-sama, they spent 2 months in the forest of death and 4 weeks of that the place was crawling with my snake summons. They could handle B and A ranked missions right now. Anko retorted. Both her and Sarutobi didn't the smallest of shivers that the group had, remembering doing the teamwork drill over again blindfolded because of the addition of Hinata's bow. Anko genin are expected to perform D ranks. I even had my team do more than 50 before we took on anything serious. If your group impresses me, Sarutobi started only for a small dog to jump in through the open window. Pakken, it's been a while, hasn't it? Sarutobi stated as the dog turned to him. Pakken nodded before handing Sarutobi a scroll. As the Hokage read it, his face became grim. Putting the scroll down, Sarutobi nodded at Pakken, who disappeared in puff of smoke, before turning back to Anko. Anko, I have a B rank mission for you and your team. Immediately all 4 were at attention. Kakashi and Team 7 were sent on a C rank escort mission, but their client lied and it turns out ninja were after him. I want you to go to Wave Country and provide backup for Team 7 in guard the Master Bridge Builder. Now I have an off-the-records A rank mission. I want you to assassinate the man responsible, the shipping magnate Gatu. If anybody asks, this mission didn't exist, is that understood? Sarutobi ordered, his tone deathly serious. Teammate nodded before exiting the same way they entered. Anko stood at the front gate eyeing her team as they stood at attention waiting for orders. Is everybody ready? They nodded simultaneously. Then let's head out, we have comrades in danger. Jumping into trees at a high speed, Anko inwardly smirked as her team kept up with her pace. Deciding to push it, Anko doubled her speed. She couldn't keep the grin off her face as the genin didn't drop behind in the slightest. At this pace we'll make it to Wave before nightfall. Hinata, at that point I want you to use your Byakugan to locate Team 7 and we will group with them to be debriefed on the situation, is that understood? Anko asked. Hi, the three chorused together. This is the house Anko-sensei. Kakashi-san is upstairs while his team is downstairs with three others. Hinata stated as Team 8 landed in front of a large house on the coast. Anko nodded and walked up to the door and knocked. The group didn't have to wait long as Sakura opened the door. Who are you guys? Sakura asked, unable to recognize the group due to Naruto having his hood up and Hinata and Shino's drastic wardrobe changes. Team 8, we were sent on mission to support your team in protecting a bridge builder. Anko said, replied curtly. Oh okay. Come in, Sakura said, leaving the door open as she walked back to everybody else. She neglected to ask for identification to ensure we were who we claimed to be. Shino stated as they walked in. Yep. Did Kakashi forget to go over that type of stuff? Anko wondered aloud as the team was led to the others. Upon entering the kitchen, Team 8 drew the attention of everybody present. Who are you? Sasuke asked. Anko was about to answer but Sakura beat her to it. Sasuke-kun, that's Team 8, they're here as our backup. Sakura replied. We don't need backup. They just get in my way. Sasuke said with a snort. Wait, Team 8 isn't that the team with Naruto, Shino, and Hinata? Kiba said while checking Hinata out while he spoke. Getting uncomfortable with his look, Hinata slid herself behind Naruto and Shino. This caused them both to glare at Kiba. Watch your eyes, mutt, or I'll remove them personally. Naruto growled, his eyes flashing red and becoming visible under his hood during his threat. Shino nodded and a low buzzing could be heard from him. I have every right to look. So you and Bug Boy can back off. Kiba countered. She doesn't want you looking. Be thankful we're on a mission or I kill you now. Naruto retorted, backing his threat up with some killer intent. Kiba paled but didn't back down. I've felt worse killer intent. Yours is pathetic. Kiba stated as he glared at Naruto. Before Kiba realized what happened, he felt something cold press against his neck and an area all men fear to lose. Kiba glanced to his right to see Hinata. I'll tell this one time, Kiba-san. Don't ever look at me like that again or I'll neuter you. She whispered softly in his ear, but her words were as cold as ice. Also insult my teammates again and I'll make you wish you were never born. Kiba nodded slowly, careful of the kunai still placed at his neck. Hinata put her kunai away and walked back to her team, ignoring Anko, who was grinning wildly. Alright, let's go talk to Kakashi. Anko replied and both team walked upstairs. Kakashi sighed as he watched Team 8 walk into his bedroom followed by his own team. The infamous Sharingan. Kakashi, what a state you've been reduced to. Bedridden and unable to move, somebody has let their skills slip. Anko said, trying and failing miserably to hold back laughter. Anko, it's been a while but last time I checked you're still only a special Junin, so try to respect your superiors. Kakashi retorted, only for Anko to chuckle again. Wrong, Kakashi, I was promoted to full Junin when the brats passed. Hokage-sama said he had been meaning to promote for a while but there was no real opportunity until I took on my team. So we've been equals for quite some time now. But all pleasantries aside, what is your status? Anko replied, her voice getting serious at the end. Well, as you can see, other than me everybody is fine. Kiba's Ninken is also hurt and he won't be able to aid us at all. We encountered the missing ninja Zabuza Momoki and I was forced to use Sharingan to defeat him. I believe he is alive and will be in fighting condition in about a week. Kakashi explained. I see, will you be able to fight by then? Anko asked and Kakashi nodded. Well, since you are the more seasoned Junin, what do you suggest we do? I think it would be best if we make sure the genin are prepared. Zabuza has an accomplice that is most likely skilled enough to challenge them. Hand me a crutch. Kakashi answered. The group followed the hobbling Junin outside and a small distance into the forest before stopping in a large clearing. Today we're going to learn how to climb trees. Kakashi stated. That's easy, Kakashi-sensei. Kiba replied. Without your hands, Kakashi added. Both teams looked stunned, but little did Kakashi know it was for two different reasons. Opting to show them, Kakashi walked up to a tree and walked up it until he was upside down on the branch. You accomplish this by adding chakra to your feet to stick to the branch. Like this, Kakashi-san? Hinata asked, standing upside down next to him with Naruto and Shino by her sides. Not expecting this, Kakashi fell off the branch and landed in a heap on the forest floor. This caused Anko to fall on her butt, laughing so hard. Once she calmed down, Anko looked at Kakashi reproachfully. You haven't taught your team tree walking yet and you took them on a C-rank mission. What have you been doing for 2 months? Anko asked critically. I had them working on teamwork, and between that and doing D-rank missions as we're supposed to have our teams do, there wasn't much time for anything else. Kakashi countered. See, that's why we didn't do D ranks. Why waste valuable training time to do simple chores? Anko replied. Kakashi rolled his eyes but looked up to the upside-down Genin. Well, since you know this, you three can go protect Tazuna on the bridge. Kakashi ordered, only for Anko to cut him off. Nope, no chance in hell is my team is gonna babysit some old fart while your team trains. Besides, our mission is to back you guys up, not protect the old man. You and I will be guarding him alone while my brats train too. Anko replied before tossing her team 3 scrolls. Naruto, make a clone. If there is trouble, it will alert you and you 3 can get Team 7 and report to us. Naruto nodded and made a clone while Anko made one as well. My clone will give you instruction, now go. The Team 8 and the clone walked into until they were out of the range of Team 7, then the Anko clone stopped. Last time the original gave you brats the first step to elemental affinity mastery and some offensive jutsu. She also gave Shino and Hinata a clan jutsu each with the consent of your clan. Naruto, she gave you a jutsu she believed would be beneficial to you this time. Since we don't have much time, she gave you each a defensive elemental jutsu each. Shino and Hinata got a defensive clan jutsu each and Naruto got a unique defensive jutsu. You have a week to learn both, or it's very possible to make the teamwork drill more fun. The Anko clone stated, causing the Genin to pale and immediately work on their scrolls, only to stop 10 minutes in. You know it's very rude to spy on people. The clone said to nobody in particular. A few seconds later, Team 7 walked into the clearing. Is there a problem? Naruto asked. Kiba glared at him but said nothing. What are you 3 learning if it's not the tree walking? Sasuke asked. Naruto glared and was about to say something, but the Anko clone beat him to it. They're learning jutsu. The clone stated coolly. Teach them to us. Sasuke ordered. Uchiha, you lack the chakra control to pull these off, but even if you did, I wouldn't show you these scrolls. Now go back to climbing, you trees, before I crack your skull against a tree. Naruto growled. Is that a threat? Sasuke asked in a low voice. Then Naruto was behind Sasuke holding one of his trench knives to the Uchiha's neck. No, Naruto whispered. It's a promise. Before Naruto could move, Sakura came charging at him wildly, only to be tripped and pinned to the ground by Hinata. Don't attempt to hit Naruto-kun, please. Hinata asked in sweet voice that didn't fit the situation. I suggest you 3 leave before my teammates do something you won't particularly appreciate. Shino stated, pushing up his shades. Sasuke glared, but the moment Naruto released him, he walked away, followed by Sakura. Shino glared at Kiba when he didn't move, but Kiba stood his ground. I have something to ask Hinata, in private. Kiba stated, but Naruto walked in front Hinata and crossed his arms. Whatever you want to ask her, you can do it in front of us. Naruto stated. Kiba growled but nodded in agreement. Satisfied, Naruto moved out of the way of Hinata. I was wondering if after this mission if you wanted to go out sometime, Hinata. Kiba asked. Hinata froze, stunned by Kiba's question. The Hyuga heiress glanced from Kiba to her team, but Shino, Naruto, and the Anko clone were staring at Hinata with indifference. Just as Hinata was about to respond, Hinata caught Kiba leering at her. Hinata smiled softly at Kiba and sauntered over to him. The indigo-haired ninja then leaned into his ear. Kiba-kun, I would, Hinata started, then paused. Kiba's breath caught in anticipation. The Inuzuka was so enticed in Hinata's action he missed the Anko clone, trying with every fiber of her temporary being not to fall to the ground laughing. Just as Hinata opened her mouth to respond, the temperature in the clearing dropped to freezing. Kiba had no time to react as a knee drilled into his solar plexus. Kiba fell to the ground, gasping for air. Never go out with you, perv. Hinata's answered softly, but you anger evident. Naruto-kun, would you be so kind as to help Kiba-san back to his team, please? Naruto grinned sadistically as he nodded slowly. Under his hood, Naruto's eye flashed red just as Kiba looked at the blonde, making the Inuzuka whimper in fear. Slowly a chakra arm encased Naruto's own and began to increase size as the blonde neared. When Naruto reached Kiba, the arm was as large as Naruto himself. With a quick movement, the arm was holding Kiba in the air. I may not know much about females, Inuzuka, but some advice. Try to keep your eyes on their eyes when you ask them out. With that said, Naruto proceeded to use the chakra arm to launch Kiba back to the clearing his teammates were at. A soft thud followed by a cry of pain caused Naruto to smirk. Well, what are you brats waiting for? Get back to training. Anko's clone yelled, but a smirk still present. Teammate didn't return to Tazuna house until sundown. Upon entering, the group found everybody was inside at the table. Seeing as she was no longer needed, the Anko clone dispersed herself, and Naruto, Shino, and Hinata casually walked into the kitchen, drawing the eyes of everybody present. Can I ask why you injured my student Naruto? Kakashi asked, pointing to Kiba, who had his arm in a sling. Naruto ignored Kakashi and turned to Anko. Sensei, do you think? Naruto started before Kakashi cut him off. Jen and I was talking to you. Anko, you may want to teach your students some respect. Kakashi snarled. Now I'll ask again, why did you hurt my students? Because I felt like it, Naruto replied, fixing Kakashi with an even gaze. Then I'll inform the Hokage and he can decide a fitting punishment for injuring a comrade during a mission. Kakashi replied. Naruto shrugged and turned back to Anko. And now that Kiba's injured, you have jeopardized our mission. Actually, I might be capable of fixing Kiba's wound. Shino replied. Really? Anko, Kakashi, Sakura, and Kiba asked at the same time. Hinata, Naruto, and Sasuke just raised an eyebrow at his comment. Yes, during our training in the forest I worked on multiple healing techniques and the human body while we were resting. I have mastered a limited number of them, but they should still suffice. Shino replied. Medical jutsu, dude, that stuff is for girls. Kiba stated, breaking out into uncontrollably laughter. Shino quietly walked over, going over a chain of hand signs. When he finished, his hands glowed blue before tapping Kiba in throat, silencing the Inuzuka, immediately surprising everybody. Chakra dissection blades, I severed his vocal folds. Shino replied before dropping the jutsu and going through another set of hand signs. When he finished, his hands glowed green and he placed his hands on Kiba's arm. Shino kept his hand there for a minute before dropping the jutsu and walking away from Kiba. I reset the broken bones and then restored it. He should be fine. Shino replied. Stunned, everybody ate dinner in complete silence and went to bed the same way. The rest of the week went without incident and the two teams conversed a little as possible until one day Kakashi and Anko called a meeting late one day. The meeting discussed plans for facing Zabuza and his ally. The two Junin believed that the two would attack the next day, as Zabuza would be back to full health then. Then next morning the two teams left with Tazuna, a thick tension and uncomfortable silence accompanying them. You know, if we don't end this little drama, the unit will suffer. Kakashi stated, ready Ika as they walked. Our unit is fine, they will just slow us down. Sasuke grumbled. Watch your words, Uchiha. Shino might just handle your loose lips the same way he did Kiba's. Naruto retorted. Sasuke glared at Shino but made no response. That weirdo got lucky. He wouldn't even touch me in a straight fight. Kiba growled. Shinobi encounters are rarely straight fights, as you put it. Shino replied. So you admit you can't beat me? Kiba said, smirking broadly. Shino ignored the question. The two teams continued to bicker as they made it to the bridge, only find it covered a thick mist. As the group walked onto the bridge, they began coming across downed men with senbon needles on them in various places. There are 4 ninjas standing further up the bridge. Hinata reported Byakugan active. All right, Sakura, Hinata and Shino protect the bridge builder. I'll handle Zabuza. Anko, you battle what I'm assuming are the demon brothers. Sasuke, Kiba, and Naruto fight the fake hunter ninja. Kakashi ordered only for Anko to cut him off. I think it would be best if Hinata and Shino handle the demon brothers while I help you finish Zabuza. Also, Naruto could handle the masked kid only, so have Kiba guard Tazuna. Anko insisted. Kakashi was respond, but he realized that no amount of arguing would make the new Junin change her mind. Fine. We will use Anko's suggested pairings. Kakashi said. Everybody hold on. Naruto said before he pulsed a giant wave of chakra, clearing the mist in full. To Kakashi's surprise, the boy looked completely fine afterwards. Well, that was interesting. A voice stated, drawing the attention of the group from Naruto. The kid must have chakra in spades to clear all my mist and still be standing. Zabuza said, a grin visible even through the gauze he was wearing over his mouth. You're not going to get away this time. Kakashi growled, ignoring the statement. I don't plan on running. Now enough talking, let's get down to business, Zabuza replied. Create 5 clone of himself only for them to be impaled with Naruto chakra tails. Naruto eyes glowed bright red as he stood in the middle of the group of clones. The clones looked at the boy in shock before turning into water and splashing to the ground. It seems he might be as fast as you, Haku, Zabuza said, looking at the masked ninja. Haku simply nodded. I doubt it, Naruto whispered, standing behind the two of them. I'm faster. Before Haku could turn around, Naruto vanished and a foot drilled into Haku's stomach, launching him away from Zabuza and the demon brothers. Kid was never one to mince words, Anko stated offhandedly before she charged at Zabuza, only to be intercepted by Meizu and Guzu. Just as the two closed in on her, Shino appeared between the two and slammed his staff on Meizu's head. Guzu then turned to Shino and was about to slash at him with his clawed gauntlet, only for an arrow to hit the metal appendage and knock him away from Shino. Anko turned her attention back to Zabuza and smirked. It seems my team has got the message. She charged at Zabuza again and smirked when she felt Kakashi right behind her. Your speed is impressive, you are faster than me, Haku said, blocking one of Naruto's trench knives with a kunai. Haku then jumped while throwing the senbon in his other hand at then blonde. Before they could reach Naruto, he was gone. Haku then turned around and threw the kunai behind him, making Naruto jump over the weapon. Haku then jumped into the air over a kick from Sasuke and backhanded the boy in the face. You also wish to fight me, Haku stated as Sasuke recovered from the hit and jumped back. Before Haku could land, a foot connected with the top of his head and sent him slamming on the bridge. Haku rolled to the side, barely avoiding the wind blade that sliced through the concrete surface where he once was. Interesting technique, you can channel your wind affinity chakra into your trench knives and then they will form blades of wind, Haku stated aloud. Naruto didn't respond and disappeared. Haku got up and raised a forearm to block Sasuke's punch. You're too slow, Haku droned, not even paying attention to the Uchiha. Sasuke growled before grabbing Haku's forearm. Sasuke then pulled the boy in and kneed him in the stomach, launching Haku backwards. Naruto then appeared above Haku and drilled his foot into Haku's stomach. The impact Haku made with the bridge was so strong that it cracked the concrete. Haku got up slowly, but Naruto gave him no time to recover and he was on the boy immediately, unleashing a barrage of punches strengthened by his trench knives, kicks, and knees. Naruto finally finished with a haymaker to Haku's face that sent the boy skidding across the bridge. Haku got up again and his mask fell to the ground, shattered. Haku coughed up some blood before charging the boys. Within a few meters, Haku stopped and went through a chain of hand signs. When he finished, water rose from the river ocean below them and surrounded Naruto and Sasuke. Naruto's chakra tails burst from behind him in preparation. The water quickly formed into multiple mirrors and Haku stepped into one. Instantly Haku became visible in all the mirrors. I'm sorry, but you will die here, Haku stated. Meizu, these greenhorns think they stand a chance against us, Guzu said as he and Meizu stood across from Hinata and Shino. Hinata had an arrow nocked, waiting for one of them to move while Shino was holding his bow in both hands defensively. You're right, brother. Let's show them how wrong they truly are, Meizu stated, and he and Guzu charged at Hinata and Shino, their chain between them. Hinata jumped back and released her arrow. The arrow struck the chain, breaking it instantly. The demon's brothers growled but continued their charge. Shino spun his bow and right as they were within striking range he swung it up, hitting Meizu in the knee. Shino then jabbed Guzu in the chest with the other end. Before either could respond, 2 arrows pierced them right between the eyes. That was peculiar. I expected 2 Chunin-level ninja to be more challenging of adversary, Shino stated, but then he glanced at the bodies and saw them turn them into water. Shino spun around and saw the brothers charging at Hinata, their chain set on dicing her to pieces. Shino channeled chakra into his bow and a sharp point made from earth formed. Shino then launched his, now a spear, weapon at the chain. Hinata turned and saw the spear connect with the chain only inches away from her. The spear slammed into the ground and pierced through concrete almost a foot deep. Hinata then looked to the demon brothers and delivered a kick to Guzu's chin. She ducked under Meizu's swipe at her and added chakra to her bow, and the limbs of her bow, up to the handle, formed blades of water. Hinata swung one end at Meizu's knee and the bow sliced completely through. Meizu cried out in pain as he fell to the ground. The moment he hit the ground, Hinata used the other bladed limb to decapitate Meizu. Meizu. I'll kill you, bitch. Guzu growled and charged at Hinata only to freeze with a gasp. Guzu looked down and saw the point of Shino's spear protruding from his chest. Like I said, I expected Chunin-level shinobi to be more challenging adversary. Shino stated as he pulled his spear out of Guzu's chest. As Guzu fell to the ground, Shino withdrew his chakra and the spear tip fell to the ground, crumbling to dust. Shino walked over to Hinata and the two went to guard the bridge builder. You're not going to live this time, Zabuza, we will kill you. Kakashi said, raising his headband over eye, revealing his Sharingan. I doubt it. Zabuza replied, going through hand signs. The moment he finished, the three Junin were engulfed in a thicker mist than before. Same trick, Zabuza. Kakashi taunted. If it works, why stop? Zabuza replied, standing between Kakashi and Anko. The missing ninja swung his blade at Kakashi and Anko with stunning speed. Kakashi was a hair too slow and the blade cut lightly into his chest. Anko, having more time to react than Kakashi, dodged the attack completely, but before she could attack, Zabuza disappeared into the mist. You know, I don't think you take me seriously. Anko stated calmly. You might regret that. Oh really? Zabuza stated, standing right behind her. Anko smirked. Ready for Zabuza's attack, she turned around and whipped out a kunai at the same time. Anko then stabbed Zabuza in throat but growled when he dissolved into water. Your cheap tricks are starting to aggravate me. Anko snarled. Relax, Anko, getting angry will only make you slopping. Kakashi stated. He's right, Zabuza agreed, swing his blade down on Kakashi. Kakashi pulled out a kunai to block, but Zabuza's sword still managed to pierce Kakashi's shoulder. Kakashi bit back a yell and kicked Zabuza away. You're slipping, Kakashi. Without that eye of yours, you're not much of a shinobi. Zabuza's voice called out through the mist. I am more than enough to handle you, Zabuza. Kakashi growled. Those wounds on you beg to differ. Zabuza replied right behind Kakashi. Zabuza swung his enormous blade at Kakashi even faster than before. The blade cut through Kakashi like butter, only for him to turn into water and splash to the ground. Just as the man was about to move, a voice called out. Hidden shadow snakes. Anko yelled, her arms pointed at Zabuza. Multiple snakes shot from the sleeves of her trench coat and ensnared Zabuza. Kakashi now. Anko yelled. Zabuza froze when he heard the faint chirping of multiple birds and saw a faint blue glow in the distance. Before he had time to react, Kakashi was in front him, his right arm engulfed in blue lightning. Reikiri. Kakashi shouted before jabbing his arm into Zabuza's chest. Kakashi's arms pierced through Zabuza like a sword. Zabuza coughed out blood, looking down at Kakashi's arm still in his chest. I didn't think it would end like this. Zabuza stated as blood dribbled out of the corners of his lips. Kakashi nodded and he removed his arm from Zabuza's chest. Anko's snakes released Zabuza and the man's lifeless body fell to the ground with a thud. I'm sorry, but you will die here. Haku said from inside his mirrors. Sasuke smirked and started a set of hand signs. When he finished, the boy shouted. Fire style. Great fireball jutsu. Sasuke and inhaled and then spewed out a giant fireball at the mirror Haku entered. A cloud of smoke covered the area, blocking everything from view. When the smoke cleared, Sasuke's grin faded. The mirror didn't even have a single scorch mark on it. These mirrors can't be burned or broken by simple jutsu. Like I said, you will die here. Haku stated. Suddenly Haku vanished and Senbon needles started flew from multiple directions. Naruto's chakra tail started shooting around wildly, blocking the needle's aim at him. Sasuke, on the other hand, was helpless as he was pelted by multiple needles, but he did managing to block or dodge a few. It seems your tails are fast enough to block my attacks. Why do you not protect or help your comrade though? Haku asked. I'm not his babysitter, but I have had enough of you. Naruto growled. Naruto's chakra arms slowly formed until they were the size of sledgehammers. When arms stopped growing, they rapidly split into multiple arms and shot at all the mirrors. The crimson appendages struck the mirror and shattered them all. Haku was forcefully ejected from one of the mirrors and skidded across the mirrors. The chakra arms merged back into two arms and one of them shot at Haku and grabbed him. The arm pulled him back to Naruto and the blonde noticed that Haku's eyes looked dead. Kill me? Haku asked. My pleasure, Naruto replied, smirking sadistically. Naruto formed his free chakra arm into a blade, then sliced Haku in half from the top of his head down. Naruto's smirk grew as he was drenched in the blood and organs of Haku. It's been too long since I killed somebody that doesn't puff away before the good part. Sasuke watched the scene stunned. He hadn't expected Naruto to actually kill Haku, and then the look on his face during and after the kill frightened the lone Uchiha. Then Sasuke looked at the blood pooled around Naruto and had flashbacks of the night his family was murdered. Why did you kill him? Sasuke asked, getting up and pulling the multiple needles out of his body. He asked me to, and he was our enemy. Naruto replied. But he was defenseless. Sasuke replied. Are you dense? He has a Kekkei Genkai that allows him to form and control ice, and were right above an enormous body of water, he would never be defenseless. Naruto retorted. Why does it bother you I killed him? Was all Sasuke responded with before he walked back to the others. Naruto withdrew Kyuubi's chakra before following suit. Well, the enemy has all been eliminated. Kakashi stated. What about Gato? Tazuna asked. He'll just send stronger men next time. Leave that to us. Where does Gato stay? Anko asked. He stays at a mansion on the other side of the island. Tazuna responded. Teammate, let's go. Anko ordered. Wait, we're going with you. Kakashi stated. No, your mission is to guard the bridge builder, besides we can't leave survivors. Is your team prepared to kill? Anko asked. Kakashi sighed and shook his head. What are you talking about, sensei? We're just as ready as their team. Kiba argued. There is a huge difference between talking and doing, Inuzuka. Naruto retorted. Kiba growled. Enough. Teammate, we have a mission. Now let's go. Anko shouted. Team 7 nodded and the four jumped off. Traveling through the trees, they made it to the mansion at nightfall. The team, while staying hidden in the trees, looked and saw two guards standing on either side of the front doors. Hinata, Anko whispered. The Hyuga heiress nodded before taking out her bow, then Hinata nocked 2 arrows. Hinata waited for a moment and then let the arrows fly. The arrows flew like bullets and hit both guards right in the foreheads. The bodies fell to the ground dead instantly. Let's move, Anko ordered, and the group moved to the foot of the door. Naruto, help us in. Naruto nodded and went through a chain of hand signs. When the blonde stopped, he thrust his hands forward and said, Wind style, great breakthrough. A powerful gust of wind shot from Naruto's hands and blasted the doors open. The group ran in and looked around to see a vast number of men holding various weapons surrounding them. Before anybody moved, clapping sounded from the top of the staircase. Well, I must say not many people would risk coming to my home like you. I'm impressed. You all got guts, and seeing as you're still alive, Zabuza and his men are dead. Gato stated. Nobody made a sound. Well, I'm glad the man asked for too much money. I was going to kill him anyway. I apologize, I'm rambling back to business. Men, whoever can kill them will awarded nicely. The men grinned viciously at the group, but before anybody could move, Shino started his own hand signs. Earth style, rising stone spears. Shino called before slamming his palms on the ground. Instantly multiple spikes of stone shot from the ground, impaling people. While the group was stunned, Hinata began a set of hand signs as well. When she finished, Anko, Naruto and Shino jumped into the air. Water style, exploding water shock wave. Hinata shouted before she spewed out a massive amount of water. Hinata spun while she released the water, sweeping multiple people up. The men began to chuckle as they got up. So you got us wet. What was that supposed to do? One of the men asked. Hinata looked down at the water that was at her waist. She glanced at the door and noticed that it was elevated by a few stairs. I needed it. Hinata jumped up and started skating on the water to the surprise of everybody, even her team. Pulling out her bow, Hinata began shooting the men, unable to avoid fast enough with the water so deep. Getting the message, the Naruto pulled out his trench knives and began running on the water, killing the restricted goons. Shino pulled out his bow and added chakra to it. The weapon grew sharpened tips on both ends, then Shino followed suit with Naruto. Anko simply stood on the water and watched her team handle the enemy. Just as she was about to join, she saw Gato trying to sneak out the door. Where do you think you're going? Anko asked as she appeared in front of the man. Please don't kill me. I'll give you anything, money, power, lovers. You name it, I'll get it. Gato begged. You know I was going to have fun with you, but I hate beggars. Anko replied before pulling out a kunai. Giving Gato no chance to beg, Anko shoved the blade into Gato's head to the handle. Anko pulled out the kunai, then turned her attention back to the skirmish between her and her team. She smirked when she saw all three of her students standing there on top of the, now pink, pond Hinata had created. Well brats, the mission was a success, let's head home. That will be it for this video. If you want more, comment down below, like, subscribe. And see you guys later.